Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. If you're looking to seriously level up your communication skills, well, you are in the perfect place. Today, we're completely cracking the code on adjectives. And we aren't just talking about your basic, everyday describing words here. We're going to master exactly how these words transform, how they scale up when we compare things, and maybe most importantly, how to avoid a super common trap that might accidentally have you telling people you're a complete snooze fest. So let's jump right in and unlock some serious grammar powers.
So, here's our game plan for today. First, the magic of adjectives. Then, comparatives, where we compare two things. After that, superlatives, for three or more. Then we'll tackle the irregular rule breakers. And finally, we'll navigate the ED versus ING trap. All right, let's get started with Section 1, the magic of adjectives and transforming your language. Which leads us right into Section 2, comparatives, where we are comparing exactly two things.
You know, the real magic of adjectives is that they don't just sit there all static on the page. They're actually totally dynamic. They change their shape entirely depending on what you're trying to say, specifically when you need to weigh things against each other. So, stepping into level 1 here, the absolutely crucial point to remember is that comparative adjectives are strictly used when you're looking at two, and literally only two, distinct things. It could be two people, two places, two ideas, whatever. But the very second you put noun A on a scale next to noun B, boom, you're in comparative territory.
Now, look at how systematically these rules scale up based entirely on the length of the word itself. It's actually kind of cool. If it's a short, snappy, one-syllable word, you simply attach an ER to the end and follow it with than. So tall becomes taller than. Fast becomes faster than. Super simple, right? But if your word ends in a Y, the rule shifts a bit. You drop that Y, swap it for an I, and then add the ER. So happy morphs into happier than, and busy becomes busier than. And finally, for those longer words with two or more syllables, we don't awkwardly jam an ER onto the end. I mean, saying expensiver just clunks around in your mouth, doesn't it? Instead, we bring in the word more right before the adjective. It becomes more expensive than, or more beautiful than.
Okay, moving right along to Section 3, superlatives, where we look at groups of three or more.
So, if comparatives are like a simple one-on-one duel between two items, superlatives are the absolute champions of the entire group. This is the ultimate form you use when you're dealing with a category of three or more nouns, and you really need to single out the one thing that stands at the very top or, the very bottom of the scale.
And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates the rule parallelism in English grammar. Notice how the exact same syllable categories we just learned for comparatives apply right here. But because we're talking about the ultimate item in a group, we've swapped out our formulas. For one syllable, instead of ER, we use the word the and add EST. So you get the tallest, the fastest. For words ending in Y, we still drop that Y, but this time we add IEST to get the happiest or the busiest. And for those long 2+ syllable words, instead of more, we crown them with the most. The most expensive, the most beautiful. It's like a puzzle. Once you see this pattern, you literally never unsee it.
All right, brace yourselves for Section 4, the irregular rule breakers.
Get ready for a bit of a boss fight here because, well, no language is perfectly behaved all the time. Some adjectives completely refuse to follow the neat little rules we just established. I mean, you can't say gooder or badder. Actually, scratch that. People definitely try to say badder. But the English language officially just won't allow it. You're basically just going to have to memorize these irregulars. But luckily, they have a really snappy, undeniable rhythm to them. Just repeat them like a drum beat. Good goes to better for two, and best for three or more. Bad transforms to worse, then to worst. And far expands to farther or further and reaches its peak at farthest or furthest. Let's hear it. Good, better, best. Bad, worse, worst. Far, farther, farthest. Lock that rhythm right into your mind and you've totally conquered the rule breakers. Now, right before we hit our final section, I want you to really think about this question. Are you bored or are you boring? It kind of sounds like a joke, right? But mixing these two up can lead to a hilarious and incredibly common, embarrassing conversation trap. Which brings us to Section 5, the ED versus ING trap. Welcome to the final secret level of our explainer. This is where verbs essentially put on a disguise and morph into adjectives. And the difference here is absolutely crucial to getting your point across correctly. As we can see laid out here, the two endings do completely different jobs. An adjective ending in ed is entirely about how a person feels. The subject of the sentence is the receiver of the emotion.
On the flip side, an adjective ending in ing describes the actual thing, the situation, or even the person that causes the feeling in the first place.
Let's look at this in action. Say you're sitting in a waiting room with absolutely nothing to do. You'd say, I am bored. You have the ed ending because you are the receiver of that feeling. The feeling of boredom is literally happening to you.
But let's say you're watching a terrible 3-hour film. The movie is the external thing causing the feeling in you. Therefore, the movie gets the ing ending. The movie is boring. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why you have to be so careful. If you accidentally use the ing ending on yourself and say, I am boring, you aren't telling someone you feel restless. Nope, you're proudly claiming that you are the root cause of boredom in the room. You're essentially telling everyone you're a human sleeping pill.
And you definitely don't want to make that mistake. But hey, now that you've unlocked these rules, from mastering the scale of comparatives and superlatives to taming those pesky irregulars and escaping the ed/ing trap, you possess the tools for totally precise communication. So I'll leave you with this final thought. What other boring mistakes will you stop causing in your daily conversations now that you have these leveled up grammar powers? Thanks so much for hanging out with me for this explainer. Use these new tools well, and I will see you next time.